May I begin? Okay. I'd like for you to imagine a new generation. One that is advanced from the old one that is different, one that is better. One that is better not only academically, but socially as well. One that is smarter, more culturally accepting, and more resistant to mental illness as they grow older. That would be a generation under an expansion of Spanish immersion schools. Now there are three reasons to expand Spanish immersion schools. One being that they produce better students that do better on tests. The second is that they produce students that are more culturally aware, culturally accepting. And lastly, because they produce students that are bilingual, which go on to and are able to resist and delay the onset of Alzheimer's and dementia. Which brings me to my first point, which is that students that go to Spanish immersion schools get better test scores and results. Now, as you may know, several studies, research, and the media have shown that being bilingual has many benefits. One of them is an increased capacity for intelligence. This has been clearly shown by students at the École Bilingue de Berkeley, which is an immersion school in California. Now, according to a study done by them, which collected test scores from the ACT, SAT, and standardized testing, students that are bilingual outperform the students of the national average by more than students that outperform the national average. Now these are students that go to this school come from all socioeconomic backgrounds and all ethnic backgrounds. Additionally, upon entering the school, all students must take a test, an entrance test, that determines their placement in classes as well as their financial aid. So these students are not just ones that would automatically be smart anyways, but ones that have learned and have increased their intelligence after going through the program and after learning the second language. Now on to the second point, which is that students that go through Spanish immersion schools are more culturally accepting and culturally aware. Now, back in the 50s and 60s, with the whole racism part, much of the problem was that our students and our society was simply not aware of the other culture. Now, according to Julie Landsman's book titled White Teachers Talk About Race, students that are culturally aware, of and have knowledge of another culture other than their own, are more than 74% likely to accept and tolerate that culture than students that don't know anything about that culture. Now through that, we can eliminate problems in the 50s and 60s simply by teaching them about it. Now on to the third and final point, which is that knowing another language can delay Alzheimer's and the onset of dementia. Now, as I was saying before, there are many benefits to being bilingual, and that research has shown that. According to a study done by University of California, San Diego neuropsychologists, patients that were more proficient in more than one language were more resistant to not only Alzheimer's, but also dementia. This goes to show that it not only makes people smarter, but it also makes them more resistant to mental illness. Now in review, I've given you three reasons to expand Spanish immersion schools. The first being that they produce better students academically. They produce better students culturally/socially, as far as cultural awareness and cultural acceptance. And lastly, because it can make students more resistant to mental illness as they age on. Now these are all great reasons to expand Spanish immersion schools. But again, I'd like for you to look at it as a whole. Imagine, do we want a generation that continues to have problems with racism, problems with test scores, problems with mental illness as they age on? Or do we want a new generation, a more advanced one, that has learned from the mistakes of the old one that is more smarter, gets better test results, is more accepting of other cultures and more diverse in the classroom? One that is more resistant to mental illness? Or do we want one that is similar to the old one? that still has problems with diversity, that still relies on top schools to compete with other countries? Or do we want a new one? One in which everyone can compete with everyone from all the other countries. One that resists mental illness, one that is smarter. That would be a generation under Spanish immersion schools, and that is why they should be expanded. Thank you.